Welcome back. Whether you're prepping to scale your current operation, trying to figure out where your newest competitors are coming from, or you're just intensely curious about the tectonic shifts happening in the business world, right now we are thrilled to have you with us.
Absolutely.
Welcome to another custom-tailored deep dive right here on Scaling Legends, the no BS space for construction business owners who are actually serious about growth. And today we have a very specific mission.
A really important one.
Yeah. We're unpacking a stack of sources centered around this master document called The New Guard, a young contractor's blueprint for success. And our goal here is to just cut through the industry noise and give you the exact playbook on how the under 35 generation is actively rewriting the rules of construction.
It is, it's a massive transition. And honestly, it's happening right under the noses of a lot of established players. I mean, we are looking at a complete changing of the guard, and the opportunity or the threat, depending on where you sit, is staggering.
Yeah, let me start us off with a number that should make any established GC listening sit up straight. Right now, 31% of the current construction workforce is set to retire by 2031.
41%.
Over 4 in 10 workers. And if you look at the historical data, it takes about 11 years to completely train replacements up to that same master skill level. But here's the hook. Gen Z is stepping up to the plate in a way the old legacy narratives completely missed.
They really did.
Their representation in construction has more than doubled. It jumped from 6.4% to 14.1% in just 4 years. As we sit here right now, 38% of Gen Z adults are working in the building trades. Okay, let's unpack this.
It's a phenomenal demographic shift. And it creates this very specific bottleneck. You look at those numbers and you realize we are facing a massive leadership vacuum.
Right.
The median age of a construction worker is stubbornly stuck at 42 years old. So while the industry is rapidly getting younger at the entry level, the people actually swinging the hammers and pulling the wire, that upper leadership layer is overwhelmingly 40 plus.
The ones making the bids.
Exactly. The people running the crews, making those bids, holding the actual licenses.
Which means we have this flood of young talent rushing the gates, but the old guard is still holding the keys to the trucks.
That's exactly it. And Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence flagged this trend beautifully. They pointed out that an incredible 52% of Gen Z students who are actively trying to enter trade programs are currently sitting on wait lists.
Wow.
The sheer demand from young people to get into this industry is completely exceeding our educational capacity to train them.
52% on wait lists. I mean, that completely destroys that tired old trope you hear at every networking event, right? The whole...
Kids these days don't want to work.
Yeah. They don't want to work with their hands.
It shatters it entirely. What's fascinating here is that the old cultural stigma around blue-collar work is just dead. The data shows that 66% of Americans now firmly believe that the trades offer more job security than corporate white-collar roles.
Which is huge.
Huge. When you combine that profound cultural shift with the impending retirement of the older generation, you have a talent pipeline bursting at the seams, just waiting for modern leadership to step in and organize it.
Let's bring this down to earth for a second, though, because if you are an established general contractor listening to this, you need to realize just how low the barrier to entry has gotten for your newest competitors.
Right.
Because wanting to be a contractor and actually funding a startup are two very different things, but the numbers here might surprise you. A kid with 10 grand can now spin up a fully insured solo operation and start bidding against you tomorrow.
The perceived barrier is definitely much higher than the actual barrier. People assume you need, a massive fleet of branded trucks to even get in the game.
Right. If you look at the baseline startup costs from our sources, a solo operator can launch for somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000.
That's nothing in the grand scheme of things.
It really isn't. That covers basic tools, a reliable used truck, initial insurance, and to scale up to a small crew of 2 to 5 people, you're looking at maybe $25,000 to $70,000. It isn't until you aim to become a mid-sized GC with heavy tools, multiple crew trucks, months of operating capital that you hit that intimidating $648,000 mark.
And while that solo operator cost is accessible, we do have to talk about what the sources call the insurance gauntlet.
Oh yeah, the gauntlet.
Because before you even swing a hammer for profit, you are bleeding capital just for the privilege of being compliant. We're talking general liability around $256 a month, workers' comp at 254,
Commercial auto at 173.
and builder's risk at 105. So that is a minimum baseline of over $600 leaving the account every single month.
Which is a rounding error to a 30-year-old firm, but it feels like an absolute mountain when you're bootstrapping your first LLC. And that doesn't even touch the bonding trap, which is the real gatekeeper here.
The bonding trap is brutal.
It is. Our sources highlight that new contractors, purely because they lack a multi-year financial history, are paying 3 to 5% of the contract value just for surety bonds. Meanwhile, the legacy guys are paying 0.5% to 1%. It actively locks the new guard out of the most lucrative public and commercial work.
It does lock them out if they try to play by the old rules. But the tool belt generation isn't playing by those rules, especially when it comes to capital. That digital-first mindset they grew up with naturally spills over into how they finance their jobs. They are entirely bypassing the traditional local bank relationship model.
Wait, though. Isn't it incredibly risky for a 24-year-old with basically no track record to just pull down a massive line of credit on an app? How are they not just bankrupting themselves faster?
It sounds risky until you look at how the underwriting actually works now. They're going fintech first. They use platforms like Bluevine to secure lines of credit anywhere from $6,000 to $250,000, but it's deeply tied to their real-time data.
Okay, so it's not just blind lending.
Exactly. They use Brex and Ramp for automated expense management. A digital lender wants data-driven underwriting. The young contractor who has their entire financial life perfectly categorized in the cloud is actually a safer bet to a modern fintech company than a 30-year veteran whose accounting is still done in a physical ledger.
That makes a lot of sense. And the sources mention real-time draw management through platforms like Ko-Fi Lending.
Yes.
For anyone who hasn't dealt with the headache of traditional bank draws, you usually have to wait 30 to 60 days for a bank inspector to physically show up at the job site before you get paid for the work you've already done.
It's a cash flow nightmare.
It really is.
Huh.
But these young owners are using apps to show lenders their real-time project financials instead.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's all about speed and transparency. They're even using revenue-based financing like Greenbox Capital, which can literally approve project funding in a single business day.
One day.
One day. That kind of liquidity completely changes how aggressively a young company can bid and scale.
And that digital-first mindset with their money naturally spills over into how they run the actual job site.
Yeah.
The youth advantage in construction right now isn't a question of whether they should use tech, but which specific tools give them the unfair edge.
Exactly.
If you look at what's coming out of the BuildOps 2025 report, and they surveyed over 600 contractors for this, 78% of them are already using or actively testing AI.
And it's the specific application of that AI that really moves the needle. Nearly half of the contractors using AI are applying it to estimating. They're taking manual takeoffs, which we all know is a massive, tedious bottleneck in this industry, and using software to crunch those numbers in minutes instead of days.
Not to mention drones. Construction is currently the #1 commercial drone adopting industry on the planet, seeing a 239% surge. Plus, the project management software space has ballooned into a $9.5 billion market.
And the data from Smart Business Automator shows that 70% of Generation Z report using generative AI tools on a weekly basis.
Weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That natural fluency is a massive competitive advantage. When you look at the 22% of contractors who are not using AI, the sources are clear. They aren't avoiding it because of the cost. They're stopped by a lack of training.
They just don't know how to do it.
Right. They literally just don't know how to implement it, creating a massive gap for young, tech-fluent contractors to exploit.
It really is like bringing a calculator to an abacus fight. But the tech is only half the story here. We are seeing a massive culture clash happening right now between new school and old school leadership.
Oh, absolutely.
The old top-down command and control model. The stereotypical superintendent throwing a clipboard across the site because a framing delivery is late. That just doesn't fly anymore.
It raises an important question. How do you manage a job site when fear-based tactics no longer work? The new playbook is essentially the inverse of the old one. We're seeing young leaders build flat teams. They operate with open book transparency, meaning the crew actually understands the margins on the job.
Wow.
Yeah, they motivate through purpose and prioritize real-time, on-the-spot feedback over those dreaded formal annual reviews.
Looking at the Deloitte 2025 data, 44% of millennials and 49% of Gen Z have outright rejected jobs because of ethical concerns with the employer's practices.
Almost half.
That was practically unheard of 20 years ago. If the check cleared, you worked. Now it's a massive factor in retention.
The pure business takeaway for you, listening right now, is that the old school screamers are bleeding talent. In a market where every single capable worker is fought over, the young leaders who treat work-life balance and mental health as real priorities are the ones building fiercely loyal, highly productive crews. They are simply out-retaining the competition.
Absolutely. And how are they recruiting those crews? They're using their phones. Social media is the new business card. I want to share a case study from the sources about Kyle Stumpenhorst.
Oh, this is a great one.
This guy left a comfortable career in computer science to go swing a hammer. He didn't just build pole barns, he built a massive brand. Fast forward to today. He has 1.8 million followers on TikTok, pulls in an estimated $1.2 million a year just in YouTube ad revenue. And his net worth is sitting around $4.7 million. Here's where it gets really interesting. He did this just by documenting his daily work.
It's a brilliant strategy, and the statistics validate it entirely. 89% of construction companies are now on Facebook, and 84% of job seekers are actively using social media to find their next gig.
That's where the eyeballs are.
What's vital to understand is the type of content that actually works. You might think you need a slick, highly produced promotional video, but you don't. Unpolished, day-in-the-life content directly from a muddy job site vastly outperforms polished ads.
People want authenticity. They want to see the real culture before they apply for a job or sign a contract. Whether it is for lead generation to land a massive commercial client or recruiting to find 3 new framing carpenters, a single viral video can literally give a small local contractor global exposure overnight.
It humanizes the brand. It proves competence visually, which makes clients want to hire you and makes skilled labor want to work for you.
And Kyle isn't an isolated case. The sources are packed with real-world examples that prove this new blueprint works, and I want to spend a minute on a few of these success stories because they are phenomenal. Take Oscar Morjan.
Right down in Miami.
Exactly. He started his company in Miami at age 25. That is incredibly young to be a GC in a market as cutthroat as South Florida. But within 4 years, he managed to secure the contract to renovate the historic 100-year-old Venetian pool.
Incredible.
Taking on a century-old historical renovation as a 20-something is a massive risk, but he used modern project management to keep the margins tight and leverage that single high-profile job to build a massive, multi-million-dollar portfolio.
Or look at Josh Downing. His story is a masterclass in unit economics. He was working for another GC, decided to step out on his own, and risked exactly $7 on a thumbtack ad.
$7.
That $7 ad landed him a $6,000 kitchen remodel, which netted an $800 profit. But he didn't stop there. He took that blueprint of lead generation and scaling, hired the right people, and built a company that is now valued in the hundreds of millions. It all started with a $7 digital ad.
And then there is Andres White. This is pure grit combined with a new playbook. He went from being homeless, literally living in his truck with his dog, to founding AM Equipment. He used the exact modern financing and digital tools we've been talking about to pull himself up, and now his company is pulling in $6 to $8 million annually.
What a turnaround.
He was even named an Equipment World Contractor of the Year finalist. These aren't unicorns. These are people who just understood the assignment better than the old guard.
If you look closely at the ENR Top 20 Under 40 list included in the sources, there's a very clear common thread linking all these young legends together. It always comes down to 3 things: a heavy reliance on mentorship, a deep commitment to collaboration over zero-sum competition, and a willingness to take highly calculated risks backed by data.
We promised no fluff on this deep dive, so we have to deliver the hard numbers to the survival stats. Because as amazing as those stories are, construction is still a brutal, unforgiving industry.
It definitely is.
Let's do a quick reality check on the money. If you're just entering the trade, entry wages are hovering around $34,000. If you take the leap and become a self-employed general contractor, you can expect to hit between $70,000 and $120,000.
And if you survive the first 3 to 5 years...
Right, if you run a successful small operation, you're looking at $150,000 to $250,000 a year in take-home. But, and this is a massive straight bet, 20% of construction companies fail in year 1, and 41% are dead within 5 years.
It's a high mortality rate, primarily driven by cash flow mismanagement, underbidding, and pool estimating. But here is the silver lining. Our research partners at Smart Business Automator spotted this early. Despite the inherent risks of the industry, construction companies that were founded recently are actually 30% more likely to survive to their 5th year than companies founded 20 years ago.
30%, that's huge.
And once you cross that 5-year mark, the survival rate jumps to an incredible 94%.
That 30% increase in early survival is a direct result of better technology and tighter financial controls. Which brings us to the most important part of this deep dive. If you're listening to this and you want to ensure your business is part of that 94% survival group, the sources give us 3 concrete action items you need to execute immediately. Number 1, build a digital presence today.
Don't wait on this.
Don't wait until you have a massive marketing budget. Just pull out your phone, walk the job site, and start documenting your work. Remember, 84% of your future clients and employees are searching for you there right now.
Number 2, you must get your financial systems right from day one. You cannot scale chaos. The modern playbook here is to use fintech platforms for your initial funding, utilize robust project management software for precise job costing, and pair that directly with Smart Business Automator to handle your overarching operations and scheduling. You have to let the software handle the administrative busy work so you can focus your energy on actually building and scaling.
Action item number 3, find a mentor. The sources emphasize this heavily. Go to your local ABC chapters, attend industry events, or just buy a seasoned contractor a cup of coffee. The old guard is retiring. They actually want to pass their hard-earned knowledge down. You just have to drop your ego and ask for it.
Those 3 steps, building a digital brand, automating your finances, and securing experienced mentorship, they are essentially the armor you need to survive those critical, highly volatile first 5 years.
So what does this all mean? Let's bring this all together for you. Whether you're prepping to quit your day job and start your own framing crew tomorrow, or you're a 20-something tasked with modernizing a 30-year-old legacy family business, the exact blueprint to scale is sitting right in front of you.
It's all right there.
The old stigma of the trades is gone. Wages are projected to grow an incredible 8 to 12% in 2026, which is more than double the national average. The old guard is exhausted, and they are actively handing over the keys. The only question is if you're ready to catch them.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We spent this time talking about the tech, the funding, and the leadership models, but consider the macro impact of this shift. If a generation raised on real-time data, artificial intelligence, and transparent collaborative leadership is about to inherit the construction of our hospitals, our bridges, and our homes, how will the physical infrastructure of our world fundamentally change when it is finally being built by digital natives?
That is a fascinating thought to end on. A huge thank you to all of you for joining us on this deep dive. Take these insights, apply them to your own blueprint, and remember, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep building. We will see you next time.